Hey guys, it's George. Today I'm going to work on the Fronos Photo Raw Edit number 55, I believe. It's the Avril Lavigne shot. I'm going to open it up in Photoshop because I'm going to do most of my work in there. Should open up in Camera Raw. Okay, so here's the shot. It's pretty great shot. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go black and white just because just looking at it, it feels like it's going to have a good black and white quality. I might get rid of some of these little imperfections. You know, she's got like, I don't know, something right there, and I might just clean up her face a little bit and then go black and white. And not a lot of noise in this image. I might have to actually add some noise just to make it look a little more cool, rock and rollish. Yeah, I think I'm going to go pretty straight edit. I'm a little worried about her skin getting a little blown out when I add some of my contrast and stuff, but excuse me, we'll see how that works out. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to enable my lens profile. Looking at 70 to 200, has a little bit of a distortion, so that's good. The only other thing I'm going to do is, let me check the white balance to daylight to warm it up a little bit. Not that it matters, but when I'm going to go black and white, it might help me out just a little bit. Anything else I want to do in here? No, I think I'm going to do the rest in Photoshop. So I think that's all I'm going to do in here. Sometimes when I work in Camera Raw straight, and I know I'm going to bring it into Photoshop, I try not to do as much. When I'm not sure if I'm going to bring it into Photoshop, I might maybe do it in Lightroom. I'll do a lot more editing in the Camera Raw itself. But in this case, I'm going to open it up in Photoshop, holding down Shift so that you can open it up as a smart object. Open it up in my other monitor, which will allow me to always go back to that Camera Raw. That's why I open it up as a smart object. First thing I want to do is I want to just check for any kind of... It doesn't look like there's any sensor dust, and you probably wouldn't see it in this image because it's so dark. But that's the first thing I do. I always check for sensor dust or any kind of dust or imperfections that you don't want camera-wise. It doesn't look like there's anything really here. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to make a layer called healing. And I'm going to use my healing tool. Hi, Gizmo. Say hi. Here. Hop up. Hop up. Hop up. Say hi. Hi. Say hi. Say hi. It's my dog, Gizmo. Okay. Thank you. It's my dog, Gizmo. So, all right. So let me get back to this. Sorry. Okay. So using my spot healing brush, which is this one, I just want to heal some of these little. She's got like a, I don't know, a little thing right there. And then these little just white spots that can get distracting once you go black and white. No, Gizmo, no. So, sorry about the noise. The dog seems to be playful right now. I'm just going to clean up any little things that I see on her face just to make it clean. One thing I do want to clean up is this hair, just so that it's not right on her eye. The other eye has one too, which is going to be interesting to try to get out. Yeah, I don't like the way that looked. I have to try something different. Okay, so if I just try areas that are the similar color, it might be better. Okay, so that worked. I'm so close up that you won't even be able to see this anyways. So, okay, so that kind of worked. Okay, so I got rid of some of those imperfections that I just wanted to... Wait, I think I just saw it over there. Something I can do. Looks like she's got some, like, I don't know if that's makeup crud or what. Okay, so clean that off. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I do a black and white, here, let me show you, a black and white gradient map. Black to white gradient map. And I put it on luminosity, and that gives me a type of contrast that I just like. I like the way it looks more so than regular contrast, than brightness contrast. It just gives it some kind of sheen that I like. So that's one thing I want to do. But since I'm going to go black and white, it's yeah. Okay. So next thing I want to do is actually go black and white. So I'm going to go to the black and white color, black and white adjustment. And this is the one that allows me to adjust the colors in the picture independently into a black and white image. So I think I could, with the reds I could actually bring out some of that darkness in there. Ooh, I could go all really dark too. That could be kind of cool, but maybe for next time. I'm just gonna bring back some of that light in there. The yellow, I want to darken the yellow just a little bit so that her hair gets a little more contrasty. Greenish, is there anything green? I don't see anything moving, so there's no real point. Blue. There's something over, oh, actually if I push up the blue, it really shows the tip of that microphone. I don't know if you can see it over here. It just helps define that edge. If I bump up the blue for some reason, it's helping define that edge, which is kind of cool. Okay, the next thing is the blue. It's her jean and a little bit of that microphone as well. Maybe I can just a little bit there. And the purple down in her boot does a little bit, but not too much. So I'm just gonna, I don't know, somewhere around there. Okay, so that's getting pretty close to my black and white. Like I said, I was a little worried about her skin getting blown out. And it's getting a little blown out, but not too bad. I might do... Okay, so this is a way that sometimes I do, instead of like, to add a little bit of gray, I guess, back into that. Basically, I'm just going to paint gray for skin. And basically, all I'm doing is I'm going to take a paintbrush, any paintbrush, and then use black. And this is, and bear with me, this is kind of a weird technique that I'm not even sure if anybody does. But basically, if you paint black, right, we're in the areas, and then you lower that opacity way down, it's gonna turn gray, obviously, right? So it'll bring back some of that skin that you lost without too much trouble. And then what I like about this method is that I can always go into that layer and lower the opacity if I feel like it's just too gray or whatever. But see, it's bringing back some of that skin tone. I'm just going to fill in all of her skin tones that got really white. Okay. And I can already tell I'm going to lower the opacity way lower than what I already did. But see, that brought back some of the skin tone already. And then if I take that opacity down to say 10, maybe 15, it just adds a little bit of gray in there instead of just blown out white, which I think helps. Maybe not 15, maybe 12. Yeah, okay, so there. I mean, it's still a high contrast image, so we don't want to lose that. Next thing I want to do is, if I duplicate that gradient map, it really gives it that contrast that I like. And then lower that opacity. So basically what I did is I duplicated that luminosity gradient just to give it a little more contrast, and now I might have to bump this up to like 15 just to get back a little bit of that gray, which I think looks pretty cool now. Still don't like 15, maybe 12. Okay. So, I don't know, I kind of like the white now, but I'm just going to leave it at 10. Just to add a little bit of gray in there, but not lose that high contrast stuff. The next thing I want to do is, I want this image to be a little rock and roll, and which is kind of feeling that way. It feels old school rock and roll, but I want to get that old school grain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a layer, call it noise. And I'm going to do a two layer noise pattern. Basically, I'm going to use Shift Delete, which brings up my fill dialog box. I'm going to put it on 50% gray, which will fill my entire frame to 50% gray, and then I'm going to put that on overlay. 50% gray on overlay just completely disappears. It doesn't do anything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Filter, Noise, Add Noise, and what you'll see is, if you look at this image closely, you'll see where I'm adding noise on and off. And it's just gonna, I'm gonna do two times. I'm gonna do 12 here to give it a lot of noise there, and then save that. Okay, so that's my first noise layer. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a smaller portion of this noise layer and duplicate it with the Command J. Command J basically takes the layer you're on, makes a selection, and duplicates it onto a new layer. So that's what Command J does. It duplicates it into a new layer. And I'm going to call that larger noise. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, see, this is the selection I had made, and I'm going to make it bigger. And what it's going to do, it's actually going to make the noise particles that we had and just make them each individually bigger so that it looks a little rougher. Doesn't look so perfectly computerized noise. And that's looking pretty good. I want to bring out her eyes a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a curve down here, and then I'm going to lighten that curve way up, and then I'm going to fill that mask with black using the Command Delete. Command Delete on a Mac fills to the background color, and Option Delete fills to the foreground color. So that's a little quick keyboard tip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to now take my white and a brush and paint into this mask. I'm going to paint a little bit into this mask to bring out her eye. Okay, so then this side too. And then I'm going to paint a little bit of in here to open up the darkness in here a little bit, just so that we can see her eye a little bit. And that just, see, it just opens up her eyes just a little bit so that we can actually see them. And I might have gone a little too far actually, so I'm going to bring it down to say 70%. You always got to be careful when you do that because it just doesn't look natural, but that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to be done with this. Actually, I do have one other thing I want to try. I have a pre-saved gradient map, and as you can see, I use gradient maps quite a bit. And this gradient map, I call it dark blue to white, and basically it's white in the white side, and then in the dark side, instead of using pure black, it's just a little bit blue. It's a little bit off black in the purplish, in the purple-ishes. I don't know what the hell that word is. But basically what it does, it gives my image, instead of just pure black and white, it gives it a little bit of tone. Just a little bit of blue purpley tone in the darks, and it just makes it different. So I like it. And that's going to be my edit, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. And hold on. Now that I'm looking at it, I might have to bring up this skin pattern just a little bit to bring back some of that, because I lost a little bit, it looks like. I'm just bringing up the opacity, just make sure I don't miss any of her skin. And I think that I'm going to go with 15, just to give it a little bit of, grayness in her arms and in her face. But that looks pretty cool. I like it. Let's do a before and after. Okay, so take all your layers, put them in a group called PSD, add adjustments. Gizmo's getting annoying. Okay, so let's do it before and after. Go. Tab. So before, after. Before, after. I like it. Kind of rock and roll, kind of cool, kind of punchy. And that's going to be my edit, guys. Thank you very much. Please subscribe. We'll be doing some more of these. I'm actually going to be doing some specific tutorials to portrait retouching. More specific than this. I mean, this was a pretty easy, fast retouch or whatever, but I'm going to be doing very specific on eyes and skin and hair, and I'm going to get pretty detailed into it in Photoshop, so keep watching, and hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.